how to activate the rear delts. All right, guys and girls, I got a question. I can't remember if it was on YouTube or Instagram at this point, but it said, hey, Chris, would you make a video on how to turn on or activate or start to feel your rear delts? So what I've always found is the best place and most logical place to start is a micro mini long orange band from Elite FTS. Now, if you don't have one of these, it's not a big deal. You just need a light band, a band with little resistance, not a lot. You don't need a lot of tension. And what I want to do is I'm going to start with some just standard pull aparts to activate my rear delt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit a couple from the front and then I'm going to get a couple from the back so you can see, or from the side might be a better option, so you can see how this really makes my rear delts fire and work like crazy. So all I'm going to do is just grab this band, for me that's shoulder width, grab it tight, and I'm going to hold it right parallel to the ground so you can see parallel. And then all I want to do is aggressively pull this apart towards my collarbone. So there. All right, so I did what? 9 reps, and my rear delts are already turned on. Now, I realize that you may not have as much muscle back there as I do, so this may take a few more reps, or it may take you doing this a different style. I've always liked these where I rip them explosively. As soon as I touch my collarbone, I let them go, then I come back in on a semi-controlled negative. Now, you may not have that much muscle or experience, so you might have to slow it down. So if I was gonna learn to turn my rear delts on, this is how I do it, right? I still wanna rip it explosively. So here, and I'll just hold 1, 2, and then I control that negative, and as soon as the band begins to lose tension, right? But it still has tension on it, but if that right there is losing it, I wanna keep just a little bit on there, rip it apart, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, just like that. So that's how I would do it, guys, to start the activation process of my rear delt. If you do 3 sets of 30 total, or if I'm doing the pulsing technique, 3 sets of 10 to 12, I promise that will begin to feel your rear delt turn on and work. Now, say, Chris, like I feel it a little bit, but it's still not tight. So by tight meaning pumped. Let me show you another thing I would do with this band in second rotation before I get over to the dumbbells. Keep the same band. All I want to do is just hook this around something stable. Grab it, put my fingertips through it, stay tall with my posture, and then I'm just going to simply pull my arms apart. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, just like that. Again, always keep tension on that band. Squeeze that rear delt. I would do 3 sets of 10 there, 30-second rest periods. That should get those things turned on and active, I promise. So those are the 2 ways that I would start. Now, let's address some form issues and things that we can do with the dumbbells and with the reverse pec deck so I can begin to really show you, in my opinion, how to make those things work the best. All right, after the band pull apart, what I want to think about here is let's get over to the cable system and really work those rear delts. I really have always been a huge proponent of the reverse pec deck because I'm able to lock into it, get in a great perfect position to set up, and then work my rear delt. So the 2 points I want you to take away from here, guys, is if you have trouble feeling your rear delt, I want you to just slow down, in particular the negative, and then I want you to get all the way to contraction and hold it. So let me show you what a couple of those look like. Every single one of those reps, very deliberate, meaning when I'm doing the negative, it's very controlled. I'm trying to feel that muscle get length to it. Then I don't jerk out of the hole, but I explosively press outside the butt of my hand, drive back, full contraction. Now, if you notice here, guys, I didn't come all the way back here. I came right to where that rear delt is maximally contracted, right there. Hit the contraction, held it for what I would consider a 1 count. So 1, 1, 2, 2, and then come right back in. That right there already has my rear delts just absolutely pumping. I trained back earlier, so it didn't like my rear delts are pumped. So what I want you to think about with this pec deck after you come off those bands is dialing into the machine, making sure your setup and posture looks exactly like mine is here, getting into contraction, holding it there with that muscle, not your traps, not your back, not your arms or triceps, but what I want you to think about is getting it there with the rear delt and holding it. And then point number 2 is going to be control that negative. It's really huge to me with any exercise. If you have trouble feeling it and connecting to the tissue, we have to control that negative. Now notice I didn't say positive too. You'll see a lot of people say, oh, if you're trying to learn how to feel a muscle, you gotta go slow on the positive and negative. No, negative slow, positive fast. I've always felt that way. That's how I've grown the best. That's how John taught me to lift. That's how I'll always continue to do. And that's why I think I adapted to his training so well, is that's how I was taught to lift in football. Control that negative so you don't get injured and explode that bar away from your body as fast as humanly possible. No different with machines, no different than dumbbells. And then I think I will add a 3rd point here that I'm gonna cross over and carry into the dumbbell that we go next. But a lot of times I'll see people just simply using way too much weight on this reverse pec deck. Lighten that load. If you don't feel it in your rear delts, lighten the load, fill in the rear delts, and then get stronger at it. We're over here to the dumbbells now, the third and final piece. And the reason I put these in this order, right, is because I feel like band is the easiest, then cable is the next easiest, and then finally the free weight is probably gonna be the most difficult in terms of filling your rear delts work. But I do wanna talk through 3 key points of rear delts with the dumbbells. One, I want you to look at these weights, 15 pounds. When I'm doing bent over rear laterals, I'll go 3 sets and I'll do 15, 20, 25. Very rarely do I ever use 30. And I say that because I'm over 250 pounds and rear delts are one of my best body parts, meaning I have the most muscle out there. So if you're out there trying to sling around 40s and 50s and are honestly using the same weights that I am, but the tissue isn't there, I would highly recommend lowering the weight. Next, I put in my notes, perfect your setup. And to me, if you're looking at this bench, that looks pretty daggone good, right? Like that's where most people are gonna do their bent over laterals. I think this is a little tall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower this seat to that. And that's gonna put me in a much better angle for isolating my rear delt. So if you look with this, what I wanna do is I wanna make sure I turtle shell my upper back and get over this weight. What I do not want is my traps in that. So what I'm thinking about here, guys, is relaxing these traps. So I'm gonna get him to just keep the camera right where he's at. You see right now my traps are relaxed, I'm hunchbacked. The moment most people posture up, they do that. You see my traps contract to my shirt? So I need to be relaxed. And then all I'm doing off of that is just taking my hands apart. I'm not doing that or this, where all of that works my trap. I have to say turtle shell, and then all I'm doing is pivoting. So from the front, I wanna show you that. Envision me being face down on an incline bench. I'm doing this with my chest, I'm concaving it, rounding my shoulders forward, and then all I'm doing is taking my hands apart. That's it. And I say that's it. That is so against what most people or how most coaches teach lifting, right? They think posture. They think, Chris, you gotta be in that posture, right? Lats are tucked, shoulders are back, traps are down. Yeah, that's great, but not if you wanna isolate and hit your rear delt, for most people. If I get into that posture, it's gonna work these bad boys. I do not wanna work my traps, guys. Look around your gym. Look how many guys and girls have big developed traps, but their rear delts are like this, flat. The amount, honestly, of bikini girls I see training shoulders, and they have their traps are bulging out and striding and working, but their rear delts aren't doing shit. I'm like, you're half naked in the gym and you can't see it in the mirror. Like, I need you to open your eyes. When you're training, or if you're doing anything, if the target muscle isn't stretching and contracting, it's not working. So with rear delts, this is a huge point and take home for me. Relax those traps, keep them down, keep them relaxed. And I'm telling you, that is the #1 tip I have for rear delts. There you have it, guys. My go-to ways to make your rear delts work, be activated, turn on, and grow. So if you look at that band to reverse pec deck to dumbbells, that's the best way to train these rear delts. And I know that a lot of people struggle with this. It's very hard. It's not going to be easy. You're going to go in there one session and figure it out. I'm telling you. This took me literally years to master. Now, as I say master, right? I feel like I can go to any gym, any part of the country, and get a band of dumbbells and cables and get on there and get a huge pump in my rear delts. That was not always the case. So take these lessons, apply them in the gym, and get to growing today. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe. Until next time, Chris TV.